don't get
Motherfucker.
into the minutia of the data, but that's incredibly important to try to predict the probabilities of future real estate prices crashing like they did during the last time adjustable rate mortgages were popular. And we know how that story ended with the global financial crisis. So going back to this chart, on the bottom horizontal line, we start at 2011, goes all the way to 2021. Now the chart ends in 2019, but I want to try to go over what has happened since then. And the red line, as we said earlier, represents fixed rate mortgages. The blue line, adjustable rate mortgages. On the left, you go from $100,000 up to $900,000. And as we can see, the adjustable rate mortgages become more and more popular as the price of the home increases. Okay, well, let's think this through. The average person is going to buy $1 million home or even an $800,000 home. The majority of their net worth is going to be comprised of their 401k, their stock portfolio, where the net worth of the individual is buying a $250,000 home. Their purchasing power is going to be more a result of equity cash in the bank, much smaller 401k, maybe even the car that they own.
What is this motherfucker?
Well, if we're in an environment where the Fed is raising rates until they break something, and this is what I believe they're doing to try to combat inflation, and maybe not even raising rates, just talking about raising rates, like they're really going to get aggressive.
What the fuck?
They know if they raise rates too much, that they're going to completely crush the entire economy because the debts are at all-time highs. Sovereign debt, corporate debt, and consumer debt. So they can't increase interest rates too much. They've got to just talk about increasing rates. And hopefully that brings asset prices and inflation down at the same time. I think this is their real objective. And I'd also like to point out the fact this chart stops in 2019. I've got these arrows here because what has happened since then? Well, we all know that the prices have skyrocketed. So if the average sale price of a home being purchased with an adjustable rate mortgage was maybe $700,000 or $750,000.
Why the hell did I even go back to the boat?
I think it's safe to say it's probably closer to $850,000 today. And we know the demand for adjustable rate mortgages is at a 14-year high. So let's get into those numbers a little bit deeper. It means that adjustable rate mortgages as a percentage of the overall mortgage market have gone from about 3% up to 11%. But if you look at the total value of all mortgages that have been created, adjustable rate mortgages now account for 19% of the total market. So what does this mean? Why is this a big deal? Well, I think because there are so many people at the high end of the market taking out adjustable rate mortgages, and their purchasing power is so predicated upon their stock portfolio. If we continue to see stocks go down, plus we see interest rates go up, this is really going to pinch their ability to continue to buy homes. And because these rates are adjustable, if they took out the mortgage, let's say 5 years ago, it would have been at a 3.5% interest rate. But now it will adjust back to, let's say, a 5% interest rate.
Jesus.
It could force a lot of these people to high end, even though they're rich, it could force them to liquidate because they can't afford the higher interest rate with their stock portfolio being cut in half. This takes us right into a feedback loop or a doom vortex, as I call them on my whiteboard videos, where the 401ks go down, which decreases purchasing power, which lowers the amount of equity in aggregate total for the real estate market. Well, the equity is also purchasing power, so that limits the ability of these individuals to buy more stocks in the future, putting further downward pressure on prices, taking us right back into this feedback loop. So bottom line is, 401k prices go down, this puts pressure on real estate prices, which makes make the 401k prices go down even further. But that's not where the story ends. We also have to look at mortgage rates through the lens of new home purchases. When people go out and buy a new home, a lot of times they make a down payment before the house is even purchased. So let's just assume you're the average Joe and James, and you're buying a new home last year when mortgage rates were maybe 3%, 3.5%. You're adjusting that, no pun intended, into your budget. So you're saying, okay, at a 3.5% interest rate, that means we can afford a $400,000 home if our budget per month was $50,000. Well, what happens when mortgage rates go from 3.5% to, let's say, 5.5% or 6% or even higher by the time the home is actually built? That average Joe and Jane can no longer afford the home, and it goes back on the market. So we could go into this environment where we're seeing additional supply come online with new homes, kind of at the lower end, although they wouldn't be starter homes because you can't build those at a profit. And we could also see additional supply coming online at the higher end because you can build homes at a profit here. And we could see a lot of forced selling due to stock prices impacting the ability for people to purchase homes in the future. So the main takeaway from step number one is adjustable rate mortgages are back in full force. And if the stock market continues to decline, and if interest rates continue to go up, this could put significant downward pressure on prices, especially at the high end of the real estate market. Step number two, big investment groups like
Rule number three.
Blackstone selling their residential properties for supply and potentially creating a crash in real estate prices. Step number one, we talked about how these adjustable rate mortgages could really impact the high end of the housing market as interest rates go up and the stock market goes down. But now let's focus on the starter homes, the 3-bedroom, 2-bath house that they just can't create at a profit. So I've been a person that's argued that it's going to be very difficult for those prices to go down because where does the supply come from? But
Come to Papa.
really, really think about it. We could see significant supply of these starter homes come on.
How the fuck?
By investment groups like Blackstone.
That was like Michael Jackson with the feet.
Right now, they own a significant portion of the United States real estate market. Well, how much? No one really knows. But in several recent articles, we can see how they just sold shares to a company that owns 80,000 of these lower-end homes. And they just purchased shares of a company that owns 70.
Oh, no.
But I think we have to ask the question, what would prompt these big investment firms like Blackstone to sell the properties they own? Well, this takes us straight to a chart of the 10-year Treasury. We go back to August of 2021 all the way to today's date. On the left, we go from 1.25% up to 3%. We started.
This house is not up.